I think everybody is looking for that perfect solution, that perfect answer, that perfect response, and that perfect life. And people forget that nothing in life is really perfect. You're not going to find that perfect answer. The next thing that you complete or the next obstacle that you overcome is not going to bring you that joy or that happiness. And that next solution to the problem is not going to be the answer to it all. In reality, you just have to set yourself up to know that things can happen. Things can go crazy, and things can go out of focus real fast, really quick, and unexpectedly. But what's truly amazing about that is that it's life. Life is unexpected. Life is very crazy. Life is very unplanned. You can plan for something for sure, but you're not going to know if it's really going to happen that way. Things can happen in this world that we cannot really plan for. Things are always a risk, and these risks can show up in many places throughout our lives. And sometimes we sit here and we wonder why we feel a certain way and when we can achieve this perfect feeling, when we can achieve this perfect feeling of complacency and feeling that things are really not out of whack and things are steady, this steadiness. And when you get to that point, sometimes something happens unexpectedly and you result back to square one where you feel like maybe this next achievement will achieve my happiness or my joy or my satisfaction in life. But in reality, it won't. Because we place our happiness and our joy on these things that are just really not the answer to our happiness in life. We need to set ourselves up to know that risks happen. Change happens. Now, the only thing certain in this world is change and innovation. Things will change from when you're a child to when you're an adult. Think back to when you were a child and you were so excited to be an adult, to have your own car, your own lifestyle, and your own job. Life was so much simpler then. And then all of a sudden you got to that point in your life and you realize, damn, this life is really crazy. I wish I could go back to when I was a teenager or when I was a child, when I was carefree and when I had no worries outside of this world except for what my mom would plan for me to do next. And I could hang with my friends, play video games, do whatever I wanted to, play board games. And even back then, things are different from how they were now as far as technology is concerned. Maybe you grew up without a computer. Maybe you grew up without video games or any of those things. But you see, it's changed. You didn't expect to be this far. And you didn't expect to have these type of changed things in your life, meaning you have other problems that wouldn't have been a problem for adults back in that time. And these things evolved to show people that we're only going to expect change going forward. We're only going to be able to find hope in things that are not, I want to say, beyond our control. And I want to say the thing that we can mostly find hope in is our faith. And that's one thing that's for certain, because placing hope on things that can change are just useless. They're futile because things evolve, things grow, and things change with times. But one thing certain is the love that you can have for your faith and for God. And when you place your relationship and trust in God and know that the inevitable is the change that's going to happen, you know that your trust and faith is in this. And sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we are only human. We can spiral fast as can be into negativity, into thinking only the negative or pessimistic things about life. But at the end of the day, we have to reground ourselves. We have to remind ourselves that this world is literally evolving as we speak. Anything can occur, anything can happen, any tragedy, any crazy thing. But what we tell ourselves is how we view our world around us. If we tell ourselves that everyone is positive and can send positive vibes into this world, we can really change our focus on things. And it gets very easy to lose focus and focus on only negativity and focus on the cycle of, why does this always happen to me? Yes, everyone said it before. And yes, it's, you can put that in any perspective, but really, we need to get ourselves and snap ourselves out of it when we get into that focus or that mindset of thinking only negative things about the current situation you're in, because it can really worsen things. And misery loves company, let me tell you. So when you put that out into the universe, that energy out there, that's what you'll attract. It's kind of funny because you'll attract like-minded people if you feel negatively about certain things or you feel a certain way about something. And negativity just grows. But when you change your mindset to viewing things positively, optimistically, it can be very differently. It can be attracting positive energy into your life, and it can attract those that will encourage and inspire you to grow with innovation, to change the world around you. And when you encourage community and those around you to be the people to grow with you, it really makes a difference. And yes, I'll admit, as a mother, it is super hard to find friends. And sometimes you have to be the person that's pushing the relationship. But don't let that discourage you. Sometimes there is the more motivating person in the relationship, but that doesn't mean that that friendship has to end. Sometimes we go through points in our life where we really struggle, and that's when our friends need us the most. That's when others need us to encourage them. Or that may be the time that you need it the most. But when you feel lost or you feel down or a certain way, try to reground your mind. Try to meditate. Try to pray about it and refocus your energy towards something positive. And I get it. It's not super easy to do sometimes. Sometimes, like I said, we're striving for this perfection, this steadiness in our life, but we can't find it and we can't really resort to it because we have so much going on. We seem so distracted, so overwhelmed, so burnt out, and it's so hard to find that focus. And sometimes we just need to take a break and stop with the busyness in our life. Stop with the chaos in our life. Maybe your life is living in chaos, but when you can eliminate and stop saying yes to everything, it can slow things down just a little bit. Or taking just 10 minutes a night to yourself in silence and praying and giving it to God really makes a difference. But what's really important is knowing when you are feeling a certain way and stopping yourself from feeling this way, practicing breath work, practicing yoga, practicing some form of exercise, walking, or just being outside in nature. And for me, I want to say one of the things that I really need to focus on and practice is really, playing music or just taking time to do something creative in my life. And I really enjoy, spending time with my dogs, taking them for a walk, or just being outside, being with nature and seeing how the birds fly around you. Everything evolves and adapts around you. It's so incredible sometimes to sit in silence and watch it and just ignore that the rest of the world exists. Just take a break from social media. Take a break from whatever is bogging you down. And I get it. It's so easy to say yes to everything. I used to be a yes person, and I used to think that, I am a social person to a degree, but at some point, you have to say no. You have to respect yourself, your well-being, and know when to say no. And saying no is not necessarily easy, but sometimes you have to give yourself 24 hours to make a decision, or you have to tell yourself, I can't possibly say yes because I have nothing inside of me to give if I go to this event. And that's very common. It can be you are so emotionally burnt out that going to the event would make it worse. And sometimes setting those boundaries is so essential to being grounded and having that positive energy in your life. Sometimes just being alone with yourself makes a difference. And sometimes it's scary being alone, but You have to process those feelings to be current or present in the moment. You have to process those feelings to be relevant and to experience the current energy. You can't be present in your life if you don't experience those past emotions or process everything in your life, because all of that stuff in your life is built up and you have nowhere to let it go unless you experience it. And living in the present moment is so essential for how you need to be to have the right mindset. The present moment is a gift, and if we do not accept this gift, we're living in the past or the future, and the future is not existent yet, so we're living on broken promises, which, like I said, anything can happen, and risks happen to change the future or what you anticipate. And I know living in the future is basically living in anxiety, and I experience anxiety, but sometimes I have to snap myself out of it. Sometimes I have to let go and realize I can't control everything. These mythical theories that I have in my mind are not necessarily a possibility. And I'm a very analytical person, and I'm very critical. But sometimes I have to learn not to be critical, not analytical. Sometimes I have to learn that reviewing every possible option is not necessarily a good thing. Sometimes it's not a good thing to go back and look up every little solution to everything, because it's just going to cause me more anxiety and more distress and more stress in my life. But at the end of the day, when you tell yourself and you think positively and you think, things are going to be all right, it's going to work out for me no matter what happens, and I'm not in control, but just thinking positively, I'm going to get that parking spot. I'm going to get that job. And even if I don't get the job, as cliche as it sounds, that's not the right job, the role for me, the right work environment, whatever. But telling yourself these things helps recreate your mindset and helps you think positively about future opportunities and about your present moment. And it helps you see things clearer. It helps bring clarity to your life. So don't be grounded in negativity. Don't be searching for the perfect solution or the perfect response or the perfect life. And I know everyone's searching for it, but at the end of the day, what really matters is where you're grounding your faith and what your outlook and mindset are in life, because there's so many things that will drag you or distract you. And I always say that's the devil distracting you from your current life, because life is full of distraction. You might think that the grass is greener on the other side, but it really isn't. It just appears to be so. And what you have, you may be taking for granted because you've been living in the past or the future, and so you haven't really been present in the moment. And that makes a huge difference. So when you truly accept that and realize that the present moment is a gift and perfection is not possible, and regrounding is necessary for life, it really makes a difference. So don't live in fear or worry about dreaming about some perfect life when it's not possible.